Second thing we want to talk about today. Quote that I don't know who first came up with this quote. I actually attribute it to my wife because she's good about putting sticky notes around the house occasionally, and she'll have little things. She does a much better job at like journaling than I do. I'll just tell you. Look, you're sitting there listening and saying like, yeah, I'm not consistent. Hey, I'm not perfect either. None of us are. That's okay. Try to get better, lean in, right? Everything else, that's the important part. It's that motion, that onward, that forward focus. But here, let's get back on the story. So Kayla, my wife, will jot notes. And a lot of times, sometimes the notes are like where the kids can see them, right, at this level. Well, one day, I get back from the gym, and there's this pink sticky note, and it is like yay high on the refrigerator, right? Well, my children are 9 and 8, and the CEO's about to turn 5. And so this isn't for their eye level, but this is hitting me right in the eye as I'm about to open the refrigerator. And it says, own your attitude before it owns you. Now, I'm not sitting there thinking at the time that she's writing this for the audience of one here. It just strikes me, and I think about that. And from time to time, I've reminded myself in a situation where I can feel my blood boiling up and I'm getting frustrated. And being a leader, listen, I understand that feeling you have. There's a lot of times that you're sitting there and you're just ready to respond. You're just ready to say something. Or you're sitting at that dinner party or that lunch group with your friends or your family, and people are talking, and you want to say something. In the back of your mind, you think, but I'm leading this group, and you can't separate what I say from the group. And so if I say something, then it's the whole group has to deal with it, right? I know what you're thinking. You feel something in there that you want to say and you want to do. And what I'm trying to tell you is in that moment, own your attitude before it owns you. And so let's think about how we apply that to being a solution. Don't talk about problems, talk about solutions. Is your attitude, is your posture when you encounter challenge, is your attitude one that says, I'm just going to complain and get it off my chest and then I'll feel good about it? Is your attitude one that says, just leave me alone? Just don't talk to me, let me go collect my thoughts? Or is your attitude and your instinct instantly, let's solve a problem, let's do it together, let's all get better out of this? Remember last time, F3 Leader, we talked about how leaders find opportunity in obstacle, right? Well, this is part of it. This is that attitude that Onward says, I'm going to charge a hill. It's going to get hard. At some point, I'm going to fall and get hurt, or we're going to struggle taking this battlefield. There are going to be casualties, but guess what? I have confidence in where I am. I have a firm foundation that is sending me forth, and I have a goal in mind, which is going to be better for all, that I feel the Spirit driving me to, and that is more important. Morton Blackwell used to have a famous saying where he said, don't stop to kick every barking dog, right, along your path. And the point there being that if you're always looking down instead of eyes up or instead of looking ahead, if you're always stopping to kick the barking dogs that are around you, you're going to veer on your path. You're going to run into that not knowing where you're going and ending up somewhere else, right? We all understand this point? Well, don't just take my word for it. Right? Go to the Word, and let's find out a key lesson in this. So in the middle of struggle, in the middle of feeling like the world was coming down on him, and he was alone, and feeling as weak as could possibly be, and almost helpless, and what we would think of today as being hopeless, what did David do? Go to Psalm 56 with me. Be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples on me. You ever feel like that? You ever feel like that when you're trying to respond because you've posted something or you made a comment and you've offended somebody, right? You could say good morning to someone and they'll be offended, right? Is how it feels sometimes, right? You ever feel like no matter what you do, you can't do anything right? No matter what you try, nothing is working? David's crying out, be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples me. All day long, an attacker oppresses me. You ever had one of those days? where you can't wait to get into bed because your body is just, you feel beat up, you feel so tired, your spirit is so heavy, you're weary. Some of you may be in tears at that time. Some of you, the weight on your shoulders just brings you down to your knees right there. I've been there. I've been there. My enemies trample on me all day long, for many attack me proudly. Isn't that tough when you, as a leader, when you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to help, and your action gets met not only with some great pushback, but when others rejoice in it. We talked about failure last week. Isn't it so tough that when you find yourself in that pit of despair, or you find yourself feeling like I've failed at this point, and others are celebrating or rejoicing? I mean, if any of you are involved in civil service or public policy, this is like every day for you, right? This is what the world, this is how culture kind of operates. But listen to how David responds in that one moment, and ask yourself, is this your attitude that you own in that moment? When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust, I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? David defines just the pit of despair, the worst of the worst. Everyone around him can't trust anybody. I'm afraid. I'm alone. What do I do? Leadership is one of the most lonely positions on the planet. I am not alone. I put my trust in you. I raise my praise to you. Psalm 56. Get it, write it, read it, focus on it, look into it when you have some quiet time, journal about it, and think about what that means for you. And remember, you are not alone. And more importantly than that, it's not that you're not alone in the tough times. It's that you are an army of one, because God is with you and the Spirit is in you. If you are not ready to take a hill, rest in that for a minute. Think about what the Spirit is burning inside of you, and then just realize for a second that you have everything you need in your Heavenly Father that is wind in your sails and is ready to get you to that mountaintop and rejoice in it together. Onward. Until next time on F3 Leader.